This video is sponsored by Storyblocks. Stick around until the end to hear about their incredible stock footage website, and use the link that's down in the description to take a look for yourself. Hey, I'm Tom, this is Aspectscience, and painting cows like zebras could save the cattle industry billions each year. Now, I know that might sound a little bit strange, but it's all to do with these little guys right here, or at least a certain type of fly. Researchers found if you paint cows with zebra stripes, it reduces the amount of times that biting and blood-sucking flies landed on cattle and started taking a quick drink of blood. Now, to test this, they actually had to go and get some black cows and paint them with black and white stripes, then with black paint all over, and then they left them without any paint on at all, and they observed them for 3 days each time. And this little experiment showed that the amount of biting flies that were landing on the striped cows was as low as around 50% of the amount of biting flies that were landing on both the fully painted black cows and the unpainted cows. And this little finding could actually have a massive impact. You see, biting flies cause cattle to graze less, to eat less, to sleep less, and just basically behave in ways that stresses them out and causes them to get injured. And it's estimated that this costs the US cattle industry alone as much as $2.2 billion each year. Now, during the experiment, it only took around 5 minutes to paint each cow. So using non-toxic paint materials, it could become a cheaper, healthier, and more environmentally friendly alternative to pesticides, which is what the cattle industry currently uses to combat biting flies. But what is actually going on? Why would zebra stripes reduce the amount of biting flies that are chowing down on cows? Well, to answer that question, you've got to look at the thing that inspired this whole experiment in the first place: zebras and their stripes. The incredible black and white pattern on zebras has always made biologists curious, and over the years there have been a bunch of different suggestions and theories to explain why zebras have them, like that they act as camouflage or as a way to regulate heat, but none of the suggestions really have that much evidence to support them. Instead, it looks like the most likely reason is that it helps zebras to avoid attack from biting flies. You see, biting flies like the tick-tick fly and the horsefly that live off feeding on the blood of animals like cows and zebras are really good at spreading diseases, including the equine influenza, which can be fatal to zebras. Now, there are 7 species of equids living today, including horses and 3 species of zebra. And incredibly, when you compare the distribution of indigenous equids with the distribution of disease-carrying biting flies, the intensity of stripes really closely matches up with where the two overlap, with higher stripe intensity found on equids in areas with more annoyance from biting flies. Now, researchers found that it might be due to the stripes messing with the fly's vision as they're coming in for landing. Tests with zebras, horses, and also horses with zebra-striped coats on showed that striped patterns resulted in flies not slowing down or behaving like they normally do on approach for landing, like they would on a solid colour surface, causing them to either fly straight past or literally bump into and bounce off the animal. This might be down to the stripes creating some form of optical illusion, but more research is going to be needed to find out exactly what's going on. But whatever the mechanism is, it's thought that stripes evolved in zebras as a way to fight off disease-carrying flies, which is a beautifully simple and a pretty neat solution. So, will we start to see cows painted as zebras all over the place now? Well, maybe. Larger and longer term experiments need to be carried out before this technique is rolled out and used by the masses. But if it does happen, it could turn into a really great example of how using something learned in one situation and applying it to an unrelated situation can sometimes lead to some novel and pretty incredible solutions. And I, for one, welcome the day when our fields are covered in these painted black and white stripy zebra looking cows. How about you? Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this kind of ridiculous video. I just want to quickly talk to you about today's sponsor, which again is the incredible people from Storyblocks. Storyblocks is, in my opinion, the best place to get all of your stock footage needs from on the internet. They've got a massive catalogue of hundreds of thousands of clips ranging from categories from landscapes to drone shots to cityscapes to people to dogs to everything you could really need. And the best part about it is that it doesn't break your bank. Now, I wanted to give them a little bit of a challenge and make a video about a topic that I could not film myself from here in London: zebras. And unsurprisingly to me, Storyblocks came through with some incredible footage of zebras that you've seen throughout this entire video. And it's like that for me whenever I use Storyblocks. Whenever I need a clip, I go onto their catalog and I'm pretty much guaranteed to find it. And you will be too. So if you're making a video and there's a clip or two that you just cannot get yourself, or maybe you want to make an entire video from scratch, Storyblocks is going to have you covered for a really affordable price. So use the link that's down below in the description to check out Storyblocks yourself and learn a little bit more about them, and that's storyblocks.com/aspectscience. Trust me, you're going to want to check them out. So thank you again to the great people at Storyblocks for sponsoring this episode of Aspect Science. And as always, this episode was also supported by the incredible Aspect Science patrons over on Patreon, so let me say a massive thank you to you guys as well. You really make all of this possible. If you haven't yet, please consider supporting Aspect Science over on Patreon. I'll leave a link to that down below as well, so you can just easily find it, click it, and learn a little bit more. So that is it for this episode of Aspect Science. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, until next time, you keep discovering the world around you, and I'll see you then.